All right, welcome back to Moans Labs. Today we have two bikes here that we are going to be tearing down for top end rebuilds, we think. This is a 04 KX250F, and we got word, this is one of my buddy's bikes, that it is locked up. So you guys know what that means, probably piston, could need a new cylinder, maybe a rod. We're gonna find out tonight. As far as this one goes, this one, we're gonna tear it down, just look it up, check it out, and we think it just needs the valves adjusted, but we don't know yet for sure. This is an 08 KX250F, and yeah, we're just gonna jump right into this. A lot of time lapse today. Tomorrow we are racing pit bikes, so I will have another pit bike video on the way. Thank you guys so much for watching the last one. It's blowing up compared to the rest of my channel. I know I say that now, but it's at like, I think 96 views. That's not astronomical, but that's astronomical for me. So I appreciate all you guys watching and liking the video, and we're gonna have more of that content to come. So yeah, enjoy this video. We're gonna get right into this. Alright, so as far as I've dug in, all I've done is take the seat off, pulled the air filter out. We don't have great signs. So one of the signs was, this is our air filter, okay? And this is extremely dirty for guys that don't know. It's really dirty. For guys that don't know, try to get in the really good habit of keeping these clean. Like every 2 to 4 rides is pretty good interval. Like depending on what you're riding, every 2 to 4 rides, you should be cleaning this. Otherwise it gets really debris full and mucked up, and then basically your bike's just sucking in shitty air the whole time. So other than that, we took the tank off. We had some cracked lines on going to the carburetor, so we're gonna have to replace some lines. But other than that, we had another issue, and I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but down at the bottom there we have the spark plug, and the spark plug has a problem. Well, this is our problem. End of the spark plug is stuck down at the bottom of there. It was really tight, so I don't know if it was per se Loctited in there, but we are gonna have to pull the head off and get that out when the head comes off. I wasn't able to remove it in one piece basically, because you could see it just stripped out through the bottom, and this plug is gone. So yeah, this is bad. This is really bad. I've never seen anything like that. So moving on, we're just getting started here. But that's what we're running into so far. All right, so we had a few things here to look out for when you take the cams out. Is as you can see there, the top of the valve buckets here have some circular wear on them. That's because when this bike vibrates, obviously when it's running, these buckets spin. They actually like vibrate in a little circle like this. You can see all the spots where they had wear right there in the center. They're pretty wore out. Now, will this bike run again? Probably, yeah. We'll probably get it to run again. Is that the right thing to do, though? Probably not to reuse those. If they look like that, go get new ones. I don't really know what they cost, but, you know, that's better than, you know, if you're going to run, like, races every weekend, and they look like that already, they're not going to get any better. So, you know, look online, find a deal. Ask companies like, I don't know, Vertex sells them, or Weisico maybe, or JE Pistons maybe, but I know some companies out there make stuff like that for performance bikes, and if you just ask them nicely, sometimes in an email, they can usually help you out. But other than that, you want to look at your cams. So it's hard to get with one hand. Bearing spins freely, it's quiet. There's no notching, there's no catching, no burrs, no nicks there. But on the, the cam journal part, you can see it's had some wear. Like there's grooving in it, there's lines, which this isn't a great view, but here. So if I clean it off, North Platte volleyball, if I clean it off here, you'll be able to see it a lot better. You can see they have the lines in them right here, and that's from when it spins, when the chain obviously spins this gear. It's going over, and it's just, you know, grinding away. That's not going to get any better either. Can you reuse this? Yes. You know, if it's kind of like a farm bike, obviously this is an 04, so if you're not going to use it to race competitively and you just want something to get back riding around the farm, you can reuse this technically. Most shops might fight you on that if they see stuff like this. But, you know, if you just have like a small town guy do it, or, you know, you do it yourself, that really shouldn't hurt it too bad. But this could obviously, you know, be something you want to look out for. If you're starting to see this, ways you can combat it is running maybe just a little thicker oil. I like to use a lot of 10 weight over the 5 weight. I think the 5 weight's kind of thin, and I think it burns it up, and, you know, you don't want to do that. So I like to run like a 10 weight, but if you're in a colder region, obviously you can still run 10 weight. It's going to get thicker when it gets colder, but Mustangs outside my house. But anyways, you know, 15, I think 20 is coming on a little strong. I wouldn't go any higher than that, but, you know, 10, 5, 10, 15 is pretty basic. You shouldn't be able to hurt anything with that. But yeah, that's just something you want to look out for. This was the, I think, the intake or the exhaust. One of them, I should know this. One of them has a decompression lever. I should know this. But it was on both of them, so obviously you want to look for that. And then look at your cam lobes here. You should see some pitting or some arcing on the lobe part here if you do have the definite scoring in the middle. So that's something to look out for, but that's all pretty basic. This bike will run again, obviously, with these. You want to look for cracks. If it's cracked, or, you know, it's broken, or it doesn't, the bearing is bad, like it's catching, it's notching, it's not rotating, and is quiet, or it's got a lot of end play or shakes back and forth, then look at getting a new bearing. But other than that, I mean, cams can last a long time if you know what to do with them. So take care of that. Back to it. Now, so everybody's favorite part is we are going to hopefully find out what is wrong with this engine and why it's locked up. And we're going to be taking the head off, which is this section right here. This is the head. This is the cylinder, this 1-inch basically spot here. And that's different on all bikes. Kawasaki's have really short cylinders. That's why they rev to the moon. And there's a lot of geometry behind that. Yamaha's have really tall cylinders, so they're thumpers. And they draw in more air, but they're a little thinner, you know, in there. So that's basically, cylinder geometry is everything. I don't want to go into that too much, but for all you guys that don't know, when we talk about the head or the cylinder head, it is this section right here between my fingers. This big part right here. This is your cylinder, where your piston is, and this is your cylinder head. This is where your valves, your camshaft, your timing chain, yeah, all that stuff basically is. So we're going to take this off. We're going to 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts and remove this, and hopefully, you know, hopefully the carnage isn't too bad. We're hoping to get away with just a blown piston, and hopefully, well, we don't know that for sure yet, but hopefully we don't need a bottom end or a rod or a crankshaft or anything like that. But on to the next. All right, let's see if I can do this with one hand. Everybody's favorite part. Hooked up somewhere still? No, I don't think so. All right. Might not be able to do this with one hand, but we'll try. Okay, head is off. Oh, no. Oh, look at that. Okay, so now we got another problem. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a valve. And those are important. That's 2 valves. But, you know, honestly, it's not really looking that bad yet. But, here. That is an intake valve and an exhaust valve, obviously. Man, I've never seen a dropped valve, but that's crazy. That's cool. I've never seen one, but that's cool. So that would be why. The bottom of this head could tell a different story. If I could just get it out. All right. All right. I don't know what that is. All right. Oh, look at that. Oh, the view. Okay, yep. Okay, so that should happen basically, and I'll explain that in a minute what happened. But that's valve spring, shim and bucket, collar. But we had a problem here. All right, so this is a little better view now that we got some light over here. But this is what ended up happening. My buddy here had dropped 3 valves into the head while it was running. And as you can see, we got 1 valve, 2 valve, 3 valve. This is one of the worst ones I've seen. Usually not all 3 drop, but no matter what, you drop a valve, you're buying a new head. Just how it is. 9 times out of 10. I mean, I think there's 1%, 2% of the world that can drop a valve and have everything be fine, miraculously. But yeah, this is going to be a new head. That really sucks. I thought it was just going to be a piston, but even if it was a piston, you run the risk of having, you know, damage to the head anyway. So this is a good reminder. We're going to see what he wants to do with it, but glad we got that figured out. It's kind of cool to me, not cool that it happened, but glad you guys got to see that. And basically what happens when that does happen is you have such wear on your valve, you know, springs and guides that these are probably the OEM valves. So these are probably from the factory from 2004. And basically when your engine gets hot, you know, metal gets hot, metal expands, right? And then it expands, contracts, expands, contracts, and then the valve's stem starts to stretch. And then eventually at a certain RPM, you let 1 go, you let 2 go, you let 3 go. All hell breaks loose all at once. So, yeah, this is, that's going to be kind of, I don't know how expensive yet, but that will be a new head for sure. Back to the piston, what we have with the piston. So fortunately, we're not just buying a new head, but we are going to also do a top end with it also, because you can't run an old piston that you drop valves into. As you can see, you got some scoring of when it jammed up and down. So basically, it's just going to go up and down, up and down, up and down until, yeah, basically that's all. And I think there's probably stuff in the bottom here. So I might, just because he's a friend of mine, I'll probably pull this motor out and just see what we have going on underneath here when we take the cylinder off, and just see where, no doubt, I'm sure there's probably shavings down there, and there's coolant here, of course. But yeah, if you're picking this stuff out, and especially, like, it's bound to happen. It's the good way that stuff happens too. For guys that don't know, that can happen on a new bike. And this is important because that can happen on a new bike. And this all goes back to your maintenance. All you guys maintenance-wise is run clean oil, okay? Run clean oil. And 2, run a clean air filter, because as these let air in, it's going to let air in right here past your carburetor. It's going to let air in, and if you get a piece of dirt or something lodged in behind this, like, well, I can't even really use that one. Like if it lodges in sideways like that, say like a piece of dirt or sand, and it gets in sideways, that valve's going to open again. It's going to pinch. It's going to hit the piston. It's going to bend the other way, and then everything's going to let go. It's going ping, 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 about 14,000 times per minute. So, you know, it's going really fast. And yeah, that's why you know, always clean your air filter. And, you know, that's a big part of that. It's probably why that happened. because we did see that we had dirty air filter. Dirty air filter lets dirt in. Jams up your valves, bad time. All right, so from here, basically, because we had the problem with the piston, we're going to have to take that off, so we're going to pull the cylinder off. And I did send my buddy a few quotes on heads, and that really does suck. This is my second one I've ever seen. So I saw one while I was in school, and it was a Yamaha, because Yamaha likes to run 5 valves and some stuff. But yeah, it's not super uncommon, but not crazy common either. So just kind of looking at our cylinder here, that all seems to be okay. I mean, you know, but yeah, that really does suck. That's probably like worst case scenario as far as a top end blowout goes, but you know, who knows? You know, maybe that spark plug alone from earlier would have told us something bad happened. I knew when that didn't come out, something was wrong. So, and obviously when they lock up, shit happens. I had an 01 Yamaha lock up on me, and yeah, it was the worst thing ever when I was, you know, 15. I didn't know what I was doing. But these are aren't super uncommon, you know. Shit happens. They're dirt bikes. They rebuild them. All right, so what we're going to do now is we are just going to drain the existing oil that's in this. And so this is a dry system, and then I don't have to worry about it, you know, leaking and pouring all over my garage. So, and then we're going to pull the carb off and put it in the machine, just get it cleaned up for my buddy. And yeah, that'll be kind of the end of that. I might move on to this one tonight. I might not. If not, that'll be a separate video. But if it is, you know, sweet. Thanks for watching. So that's gonna be it for today. We just finished with walking through the carburetor, put it in the machine, cleaned it, looks great. But that's it for today. I think we do have some metal shavings in the bottom of this motor, so we will be taking this out once we get figured out what we want to do with it parts wise. Other than that, we're gonna work that out. And we're going to get to this one another day because my feet hurt and I've done enough for today. So I'm tired. I'm going to go edit this video. Tomorrow we have pit bike races, which should be a great video. I'm really excited for that. But I'm pumping out as much content as I can. I have to bring my tools home on the weekend in between my jobs. So it's getting a little bit tougher to do bike work back here. But yeah, I appreciate you all checking out the last video. If you like this video, leave a like, leave a comment down below, anything you want to see. We will have more content here, and we have parts coming in for the CR in the near future. So thanks for watching. Moans Lab out.